Okay, so hi, hello, welcome back to another reading bad two-sentence horror stories. It's been a few. I think it's been like a month or two since I've done this, so we're gonna have a lot of content. But before I get into it, I do want to say a few things. First off, the video is a one take, so if you do hear me stumble, mumble, fumble, and mess with my words, I'm sorry. This is a one take. And second thing, I do want to say, please consider using code GOONS at gamersubs.gg. That's code GOONS, and you can use that to get 10% off at checkout. Okay, so if you're new around here, how I usually do my creepypastas. No. How I usually do my bad two-sentence readings is that I just start with the first one and I go all the way down until I consider like, hey, I think I'm done with this, or it gets really bad. But then also I do have my input every now and then, and yeah. So outside of that, let's get into it. This is the first bad two-sentence horror story. I felt reassured when the psychic told me I would die in the arms of the one who loved me the most. My reassurance faded when my stalker grabbed me by my throat and started squeezing. As I free fall, I hear his words, "I love your girlfriend more than I thought. I'm sorry." Then he pulls the cord out of his parachute and disappears upwards, while mine cannot be opened. I said, "I give you legs," the witch told the mermaid with a shrug, uncaring and unpretend. "I never said I'd turn you into a human." "Some assembly required," read the box on the table. "Not again," grumbled the county coroner. I'm told that serial killers often start their careers by torturing animals as children. So when I saw my 5-year-old son swinging the cat around by his tail, I knew exactly what I had to do. "Your oral health is just as important as your general health," said the man to the little girl. "Don't sink your fangs into inanimate objects," he added. Yeah, you guys are kind of getting the pattern now, but let's keep going. I killed my wife this morning with just one word. Not trusting her nose while recovering from a cold, she asked me if I could smell gas as I was leaving for work. I simply said, no. What the fuck? This one's not safe for work. As I gagged underneath my manager's desk, I mentally scolded myself that I was better than this. But I couldn't find the key for the door anywhere, and it's only a matter of time before the flesh of his corpse rots. The flesh of his corpse rots until it's inedible. Okay, that that I where I thought it was going is different. So thankfully, moving on. "I will bring you flowers every day, honey," said my husband. "It's been 5 years since he died. I moved out twice, but he keeps finding me." I couldn't take my eyes off the wet, pulsating, morphing mass of flesh in front of me. But as the phenylephrine wore off, I became fixated on a bloody pair of scissors between my legs, realizing what I managed to remove. What the fuck? Moving on. First, they take your arms, and then they take your legs. Finally, they carve your head with a sharp knife and put a candle inside your head. That's from November 1st, by the way, so I think it was supposed to be like a Halloween one, but yeah, moving on. "When I grow up, I just want to be a doctor just like you." I didn't have it in my heart to tell that poor girl that she wasn't going to grow up. That one's just fucking dark. Moving on. I accidentally took a picture of my daughter using Google Lens. After multiple attempts, I still can't figure out why it keeps pulling up myths about demonic fairies. Moving on. "Happy 10-year anniversary," my wife declared as she began spoon-feeding me a piece of cake. I struggled weakly against my shackles as she fed me. I wish I never asked for a divorce. "Yo, bro, I swear she won't be able to resist you like this. Come on in." He takes me in and shows me my crush laying lifeless on the floor. Jesus fucking Christ. Uh, uh, moving on. The year she turned 24, she painted the left eye of Dorama. The year she turned 87, she finally used her freshly dead husband's blood to paint Daruma's right eye. I don't know if that's like lore, but we're moving on. I have slain all soldiers in your skeleton army. It's time for you to now give up. Ah, but you forgot one, said the evil wizard, as I begin to feel a strange itch deep in my bones. What the fuck? Moving on. It wasn't a revelation that Brian could speak with the dead that disturbed the child. It wasn't a revelation that Brian could speak with the dead that disturbed the child psychologist. It was his confession that he killed his friends and family to make sure he could speak with them always. Okay, Brian, we're moving on. I managed to kill the Demon King even though the agent text says that he is immortal. As the memories of atrocities flashed through my mind, and I felt two horns protrude from my head, I realized what they meant. Honestly, I will not. Well, hold on, I can't even speak. That one would make a really cool anime. In my honest opinion, I think it would. But hey, we're moving on. I snuck into my sister's house after she left when I heard she was dating the man from my dreams. I dropped my knife in shock when I saw his body on the bed with a note that said, "You're welcome." What? Moving on. Please don't. I pleaded with the monster under my bed as his claws started to come out from the dark. I didn't want my stepfather to have another victim in his bedroom. What? What? Moving on. Okay, this one can be dark. I cheated and it led to my husband to commit suicide. Until the very end, this man could never win a game of roulette when it really mattered. Jesus. Okay, we're moving on. You couldn't kill 100 people with a single bullet. They laughed. So I pointed my gun towards the submarine's air tank, and I pulled the trigger just to prove it. I mean, he's not wrong. So yeah, we're moving on. Want to sit on that bench? I asked her after a wonderful park date. No, not there. That is where I was murdered, she replied. Okay. I'm sorry, you're just not my type, she said. Recovering in the burn unit, she wished she had said yes. Damn, from the burn unit, that's fucked. Moving on. My wife and I were elated when we found out we were having twins. It has been devastating to learn that only one child wouldn't be enough to settle our student loan debts. Okay, moving on. I often heard my daughter talking to an imaginary friend and dismissed it as childhood whimsy. One night, I listened closely and froze when I heard someone say, "Your mommy doesn't know I'm not imaginary." Okay, moving on. I'm a bit nervous. It's my first time, she said. His excitement vanished as her teeth began to grow longer. I almost succeeded in convincing the frightened little girl into my van with some sweets. Sadly, I was interrupted and had to speed off, watching the zombie horde surround her in the rearview mirror. What the fuck? That one's the worst one, I think. We're moving on. Your husband's amputation went very well, Mrs. Smith. By the way, his first name and address were wrong on the form, but don't worry, we fixed that too. You look positively glowing, said my husband, smiling as I headed off to my first real job. Now, as I lay wasting in the cancer ward, my hair falling out, I realized I never should have taken a job painting radium watch dials. The young girl had been granted with infinite wishes. When she accidentally did something embarrassing at school, she said, I wish a black hole would suck me up in that moment." Okay, moving on. My skin went cold as I finally saw my missing toddler in the crowd. "Mommy," he shouted as his eyes locked onto mine from across the busy intersection. You know, that reminded me of Heavy Rain. Jason. Moving on. This one's not safe for work. As he got on top of me, he started gently kissing me all over my body and held my hands tight. Lying here tied to the bed, all I can do is wish he had been this romantic when he was alive. What the fuck? Okay, we're moving on. Some say that your first sentence is too long and against the rules. I say you deserve worse for disobeying your king. I say you deserve worse for disobeying your king. So your second sentence is to witness the slow, torturous execution of your family. Wait. Moving on. When we got married, my husband said to me that he will never let my stomach go empty. Now I'm carrying his fourth child, and I'm beginning to realize he didn't mean food. What the fuck? Help me, I'm trapped, cried the little girl through the freshly uncovered gaps in the rubble. Fuck that, yelped the archaeologist as he hurriedly placed back the ancient tombstones. What the fuck? Moving on. You look positively glowing. Oh, I already read that one. My bad. The worst thing about the zombie apocalypse was not the millions of zombies being created every single day, but the fact that it could be transmitted only through intercourse with a subject with an advanced stage of infection. Wait, so this guy wants to fuck a zombie? Okay, we're moving on. Is it just me? Oh, this one's not safe for work, by the way. Is it just me, or is the sub dying? I don't care, though. She's a shit teacher, and I'm going to beat the hell out of her until she either kicks the bucket or changes my grade. What the fuck? Okay, we're moving on. Me and my twin sister always joked about how we ate our other sister in the womb. Now, standing at the gates of heaven, we realized she didn't find it funny. My husband came home after work looking confused at why I looked so pale. I looked at the backyard with the shovel in my hands. He never told me he had a twin. I was drawing a dick on my friend's face when he opened his eyes and scared the hell out of me. I dropped the marker, sprung from his grave, and hauled ass out of the cemetery. Grandpa stated in his will that he wanted his ashes scattered over Grandma's resting place. At least our family can finally get some closure now we know where he buried her body. My boyfriend hates it when I touch him. He says I remind him of his ex. Just because I'm wearing her does not mean I'm the same as her. I don't have much, but I will give every euro I have just to see my beautiful, sweet girl again. But luckily, the men only ask for 1,500 euro, so I can have my precious time with her. My big brother hates it when I enter his room. He always cries and tells me, "Please go away, I didn't mean to let you drown." That one's just sad. This month's full moon is the largest ever observed, and it's getting larger every minute. It won't hurt an impotent girl like you to learn to wash some clothes, my mother said, as she dragged me to the doors of the Magdalene laundry. What? Okay, we're moving on. The woman next to me in bed is an imposter. She's not my wife. I'm stuck because to prove that to anyone, I had to tell her where I buried her body. What the fuck? I'm scared of the cannibal killer, I said as I finished my dinner. I'm not the cannibal, sweetie, said my mom as she took away my clean plate. There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. Her many children she claimed all died from the flu. Whilst she fled town, the coroner's report did come through, saying that the hag must have poisoned each child's stew. Yep. I became a vampire in order to continue reading books forever. I didn't anticipate outliving the world's final author. I decided to learn Morse code after my life as a bartender became too boring. Now I can't stop remembering the dozens of women who came up to me blinking strangely. Wait, what? As a biologist, finding corpse of a 100-foot dragon brought my team fame and admiration. But the fact that I had to hide that its entire left half had been bitten off brought us fear. Yeah. They say you only die when you're forgotten. I lie here in my coffin, as I have for the last 1,000 years, waiting for the sweet release of death. I wish I had never cured cancer. Damn. The baby monitor crackled to life with the sound of a lullaby, but her child had been gone for years. The song continued, followed by a soft voice whispering, "I miss you, Mommy." That one's not really a horror story, but it's sad. No, that one's sad. But we're moving on. As I tucked my daughter into bed, I kissed her forehead and whispered, "Sweet dreams." It was only after she fell asleep that I had to hide from her in the closet, waiting for the sun to rise again. Huh. As I take humanity's first step on Mars, I accidentally kick something. I look down expecting to see a small rock rolling away, but what I see instead is a human skull. Oh, okay. "Open the door," I yelled, barely able to catch my breath. The scarf tugged harder as the elevator moved, and I felt my head press against the cold floor. Okay, that one is a horror story, because I have been seeing the clips of like how the dogs get like their leash stuck in the door and they get like hung. So that is a horror story. But for a two-sentence one, yeah, it doesn't work. But we're moving on. My daughter's baby doll kept waking up my newborn with his fake crying noise. The only way I could make the doll stop crying was to smash his head against the wall until it started bleeding. Jesus Christ. I love when a hot girl shows me her feet in webcam. She's been hanging from the ceiling since 2 hours ago, though. Jesus Christ. Okay. "See, little brother? I gave a sharp twist and pulled the apple off the tree." He nodded happily and put his hand over the kitten's head. "Mama," said the baby, smiling at me as she said her first word. My OBGYN almost dropped my 10-second-old daughter, and she looked at him and said, "Make him cut the cord, Mama." What? Okay, we're moving on. My husband said he was with the love of his life when I called him to ask where he was. After shooting at his car outside a restaurant, I saw my daughter in the passenger seat with a bullet in her head. What is this? Jesus Christ, we're moving on. The good news is that the cancer is totally gone. The bad news is that we can't just call it cancer anymore because it had grown teeth and has begun chewing its way out. That is a unique horror story. We're moving on. My daughter's got a stomach bug and can't keep anything down. It's strange though, she hasn't had access to any coffee grounds recently. I don't know where that's coming from. Okay, we're moving on. I give birth every year within a few days. I smother them in their sleep to make it look like SIDS. My husband really wants me to stop, but the money we make from recording it is just too enticing. What? Okay, also, you guys don't know what SIDS is sudden infant death syndrome, I believe. Hopefully that's the correct scientific term. Where a baby just, for some reason, they just die for any reason that I think is unexplainable. Too, I could be wrong. It's been a while since I have looked into SIDS, but I did take a college class. You know, a college class, well, no, not college class, a class in criminal justice in high school, and that one of the calls was because of SID, because like one of the calls was the girl lost her baby due to SIDS. So yeah, it just happens. I don't know why it happens, but hey, it is what it is. But we're moving on. The fountain of youth made me young and attractive forever. As I gaze at a dying sun from a dead planet, I pray that I'll die with it. I was so surprised when my wife told me that she was pregnant. We had been the only two left after the apocalypse a few years back, and we were lesbians. The power to be able to know all of the ingredients of anything you eat is a cool party trick, I guess. The downside is that half the time it keeps coming up with names. Mommy's face turned red, then purple, and then blue. She was still up there when my Grammy took me away the next night. That one is that one's fucked up. Okay, moving on. My brother told me he took care of me for 3 months till I woke up from my psychosis. But I don't know this man. I am an only child. We're moving on. They call me a monster. My family shunned me. I'm unemployed and there is no hope left for me. One sleep deprived shake. One sleep deprived shake when it wouldn't stop crying, and my life is worthless now. What? Okay, we're moving on. My friend David messaged me asking for my address and that he wanted to come over. As David knocked on my front door, I got a message from my other friend asking if I seen David's phone since it went missing. Okay, that one's a good one. I don't think it is a bad two-sentence horror story. I think it has something to it. But we're moving on. After my tank ran out of oxygen, I swam as fast as I could, desperate to reach the surface. But as my hands crashed against the sand, I immediately understood that in the darkness of the sea, I didn't realize what direction was up. Oh, you know what? I understand what I was going for, and I don't think this one is necessarily bad. It's just I think it should be expanded upon. 'Cause that would be a cool creepypasta. It would be. But we're moving on. Only a few months until my beautiful baby boy is here. It didn't work the last few times, but now I know not to push the knife so deep into the bitch's stomach. What? Okay, we're moving on. Today marks the first day in human history in which not one person has died. Our celebrations were cut short, however, when the sun didn't rise the next morning. Snow is hardly winter, said my sister excitedly, catching the flakes on her tongue. Ew, why does it taste metallic? We're moving on. My husband passed the test when I went away for the weekend, and he did a good job of taking care of the kids. Now, I could finally take that bottle of sleeping pills and not feel guilty. Okay, that one's depressing. That one is honestly borderline depressing. Jesus. We're moving on. After draining his accounts, the kidnapper told Howard where to find his daughter. Waiting for him at the location were some large men with video cameras, and no sign of that little kid you were going to meet. Okay, I think this was supposed to be like a Chris Hansen type twist at the end, but I don't know, it didn't work well. Moving on. Here you go, your portion of youth, says the wizard as he hands me an unlabeled flask. Thank you very much. I say my last words before guzzling the whole flask full of that potion of youth. So, youth is spelled Youth, but in the two-sentence horror story, they put EUTH. So I don't know if that's supposed to be like a D&D reference or like anything that, I don't know, it's probably like poison or something. But I don't know, I thought I should just tell you guys too. But we're moving on. It's been 4 days, and that damn clock my grandfather gave me hasn't stopped ticking my ears off. I'm too afraid to even turn it off. Every time I start to walk closer, it ticks faster and faster. Scurvy was that disease pirates would get from not eating oranges, right? I chuckled at my doctor. Now, as decades of severe self-harm scars are suddenly splitting open, I wish I had taken them more seriously. What? Okay, moving on. After my cat Minx disappeared, my boyfriend gave me a brand new violin as a condolence gift. Knowing he is a luthier, I knew that the sound of his violin would be ethereal and would always remind me of Minx. Okay, that. So, is she saying that Minx is dead? I don't know what she's trying to say, but I don't know. Moving on. So demons do sleep. I whisper to myself as I hold the pillow above the hellspawn's sleeping face. Motherhood was supposed to be an amazing gift, but after 4 days running on 40 minutes of sleep, it's time to send this one back. That is fucked up. Okay, moving on. Some girls will kill for your wavy hair. My girlfriend said with sparkling eyes. I had no idea it would be her when she pulled out the scalpel. Okay, moving on. I like to call myself a survivor, someone who is not a victim, but a survivor of traumatic events. After all, what better way to gain the trust of other vulnerable victims ripe for picking? Okay, that one just fucking sucks. We're moving on. We woke up last night to find our little girl taking her first steps and speaking her first words. She was less than a week old, and the language was tongues, and steps were across the ceiling of our bedroom. What? Okay, moving on. I absently munched on the carrot sticks. My infant gleefully stuck into my mouth at dinner. The crunch was the exact same as my little boy began to scream, and a coppery taste filled my mouth. Sorry, I had a hard time reading that one. I don't. But yeah, so she and or he ate their toddler's fingers. Dope. Moving on. After 5 years of tireless work, my thesis is finally finished. University checker says 90% AI. I wrote every word. Yeah, that's the future that is unfortunately happening right now. You know, that's what I don't get. They use AI to catch AI, but then stuff that isn't really even AI they catch. It's so fucking weird. I feel for this person though. I know it's a two sentence horror story, and it is a horror story now. But yeah, that's unfortunate. But hey, moving on. The man woke up and found that he was the sole individual in the entire city. He was skeptical when he ordered the pill that promised to get rid of imaginary friends, but now he knows that it actually works. Moving on. A dying man pushed something into my hands, and he told me I must use it. I'm sure one day when it's most important, I'll find a use for this EpiPen. Oh. Okay, that's a funny one. We're moving on. I told the entire crew, if she curls up into a ball, drain the chamber ASAP. I told the actors, just wave your arms and they'll drain the chamber. Oh, damn, that's murder. Okay, moving on. Man up, or mommy will give you something to really make you cry, I say to my weeping son. As he froze, and I wiped his tears, I thought I saved him, but when my wife came with the belt, the fear alone made him cry again. Okay, I mean, that is messed up. Alright, we're moving on. They call me delusional when I insisted that my sister was actually an alien infiltrator. Standing over her bloody body, I realized they may have been right. Wait. Okay. I wish they gave more context to it, but okay. Moving on. 12 consecutive reds, so the next spin has to be black. And the last thing I have to bet is my wife, so I'm glad this one is certain. Okay, moving on. As they soaked my legs in salt water, I thought, this isn't very effective way to torture someone. That was until they brought in the goat. Okay, moving on. The government mandated 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. workday made everyone upset about working in the dark. I'm not complaining considering today's high is 138 Fahrenheit, but I'm worried for my son's generation and how they'll live on now. Okay, I don't know if that's supposed to be like something referring to like climate change, but that's unique. But hey, we're moving on. If your child is a boy, he will be sent to the barracks to become a soldier. If your child is a girl, its reproductive system will be harvested and sent to laboratories where it will be used to breed better soldiers. What the fuck? Okay, moving on. Standing at the pearly gates, I asked, why didn't my life flash before my eyes when I died? God replied, because you only get to experience that once. What? Okay, we're moving on. Why are you doing this to me? I screamed when they ripped out another nail. Leaning in close, my torturer grinned and whispered, knowing there is a reason, but not what the reason is half the fun. Okay, this is something someone will write, trying to be edgy like the Joker. I honestly think it's supposed to be kind of like an edgy Joker type thing. But hey, we're moving on. Please, God, don't let it look in the closet, I silently prayed. Please, God, don't let it look in the closet. It parroted back for me the next room. Okay, moving on. My beautiful daughter met her husband at the gym and has never been happier. I keep telling her, though, that she needs to be more careful weightlifting. Some of those bruises look really painful. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, we're moving on. Luckily, I counted the fingers and realized that it was definitely not AI. It was not a person. I don't know why the hell it was screaming at me about congenital defects, but at least it's dead now. What the fuck? Okay, moving on. You get any 3 wishes you desire, a genie whispered in my ear. I whispered back, I like to make cancer contagious. That is fucked up. Okay, moving on. I never knew why, but zombies all remember things like their last words. My boyfriend's walking corpse has stayed pressed into the chain link for days, rasping at me. We shouldn't have come. That is just sad. We're moving on. My boyfriend has always sworn that he will never leave me for another woman. But this, I think as I stirred the antifreeze into a soup, is the only way I'm going to be 100% sure. That's fucked up. Moving on. You're stuck in a room with a robot algorithm whose only goal is to generate noise. And you're hoping and pleading that it doesn't figure out the pain makes humans scream. Okay, moving on. Kill your wife. The voice in my head said, and I refused. Pseudo, kill your wife, the voice said again. And I was terrified to find out that I can't stop my hand from reaching for the kitchen knife. Okay, moving on. My psychologist said the voices weren't real and I shouldn't pay attention to them. After I slit her throat and watched her bleed out, I heard her voice join the cacophony in my head, pleading for me to stop. Pleading for me to stop killing. I don't know why, I couldn't say cacophony. I was like, But hey, moving on. My friend accidentally spilled a cup of water on the map of our city. The fear really kicked in when it started raining only in our city until the map dried. Actually, that should be a cool, like, adventure book thing. That should be pretty fucking dope. But hey, we're moving on. You took LSD decades ago and had a great trip followed by a fantastic life. Suddenly, you are 14 years old again and waking up on the floor of your mom's house. I think that's like the goal for many people. Well, I believe for many people, it's like, how do I say this? Like, people have that sense for nostalgia. Like, they want to go back to when they were a kid. And I think people would honestly enjoy that if that was the case, because currently, I don't know, the world is in a weird place, you know what I mean? But hey, it is what it is. But yeah, moving on. As the stranger made mommy scream and cry, the bright 4-year-old picked up the phone and dialed 911. You're one of Elmo's best friends, the toy phone replied. I know that's messed up, but I think that's fucking funny. But okay, we're moving on. I found a man lying on the road who couldn't breathe, so I stabbed him in the heart and I took all of his stuff. I just hope there is someone left to do the same for me when my lungs finally succumb to the toxic atmosphere that we live in. Huh, that's unique. We're moving on. As I lay prone on my deathbed, I heard my oldest daughter ask, "Will there be any pain?" After some soft words from the doctor, I heard her ask, "But there can be. For how much extra?" What? Okay, moving on. It was 7 years ago when my son and I put my husband in the ground after his drunk driving accident. And to this day, I'm still grateful for my hometown hates him as much as I did. Especially when the police started asking questions. Okay, moving on. I tried to be supportive when my son changed their names. I began using they pronouns. Whenever I asked them about it, they only answered, "We are the Legion, and we are many." Okay, moving on. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but your baby passed away. But here's your money. I had a really good time, though." Moving on. "Suicide is never the answer. Just please put the knife down. Put down the knife and..." Who the hell said anything about suicide? Banger. Moving on. My sister was jealous over a guy she likes liking me, so I offered a ritual to switch bodies with her tonight. Stirring my drink amused, I observed as he carried her by the shoulder into his car, and hopefully to a place where I won't see her again. What the fuck? Okay, moving on. I was born deaf, never knowing the sound of a voice, let alone that of my own mother. But somehow I know that wasn't her voice calling me into the kitchen. What? Okay. We're moving on. "I swear there's a baby in there," screamed the woman as she stood in the middle of the barn. Her blood and guts spilled around her as she clawed out her insides. Jesus Christ. Okay, we're moving on. For my first wish, I asked the genie to unite all of humanity. I tried undoing it, but I lost the lamp somewhere in the mountain of writhing, screaming flesh. Huh, okay. Moving on. I stare in puzzlement as my wife of 10 years suddenly yells "clear" in a strange voice. The breakfast table and our two beautiful daughters fade away as I wake up in a bustling emergency room with unknown people hunched over me. That reminds me greatly of The Lamp. I think with The Lamp, r/nosleep story or creepypasta story. But yeah, that's honestly kind of sad. I think I if you guys don't know, this is being live on Twitch, but I believe I had a viewer who had like a similar dream, kind of like that. It wasn't like them being put into a like coma or anything, but like it's just one of those dreams that you believe is real, that you wake up thinking you actually have like either a girlfriend or like a wife or like kids, you know. So I can't really imagine like having that and then just waking up to like doctors over you. That would be fucked. But yeah, we're moving on. He brought his 2-year-old daughter in for assessment after having been bitten by a rat. I couldn't find any bite marks on her skin until I took her shoes off and found stubs for her. When I took off her shoes and found stubs for her where there should have been toes. Sorry, that one was written weird. But yeah, his daughter got her toes bitten off. Sweetness. Moving on. As she fell headfirst down, she looked almost calm, as if accepting her fate. Many others would soon follow her, as it was much better than being inevitable. Much better than the inevitable. Just falling head first. I mean, hey, that is what it is, I guess. But hey, we're moving on. As an adult, I always kept my imaginary friends a secret to avoid embarrassment. When the waitress asked me if we were all sitting together, I started questioning everything. Okay, moving on. I got hit by a car when I was 8. I made many friends after I got out of the hospital. As I wake up today, I found myself on a gurney, having woken up from a 12-year coma. Jesus Christ, that's fucked up. Hey, at least we'll be 20 now. But moving on. All the boys at school just bully me and call me ugly. At least the man I met online thinks I'm beautiful. Oh no, no, no. Run. Alright, moving on. If I set a precedent for you, it's a slippery slope, really, isn't it? His new manager said. Best you arrange your chemo and everything else outside working hours. That is fucked up. Unfortunately, I can see someone in America doing that. It's like, hey, I know you need your chemotherapy, but you better get that fucking paper done by 2 p.m., you know? That's EOD right there. That's the end of day paper. You gotta get that done. Alright, moving on. My friends and I laughed our asses off after I smashed my bride's face into a 3-tiered wedding cake. I was the first to stop when I realized her body had gone completely limp. Wait, okay. I thought I read that wrong. No, so this one's just saying like, hey, at my wedding, also, if you guys don't know, not all weddings do this though, but like, you guys probably seen birthday videos where people like shove their friend's face into the cake. It's like a funny haha moment. I don't know if they do it for weddings. I think it kind of depends on the couple. But yeah, so this guy killed his wife by shoving her face into a cake. That's unique. We're moving on. My son was a little freaked out when he found out that I went into his room to watch him sleep. I'm guessing I won't be able to do it for a while now. His wife will probably make him change the locks again. Oh, what the fuck? Okay, we're moving on. Alright. I forgot what part I got to in the last video. Oh. My dog's making an appearance. Let's go. Oh. I'll keep going, though. I'll keep going for a few more. After I finished braiding my hair, I was grateful my mother never let me get a haircut growing up. As the chair tilted, I prayed that it will hold. I sat in my car and sobbed after the medium told me my children would die before me. As the silence fell over the back seat, I comforted myself with the fact that I will be with them and let the tiredness wash over me. Alright, I'll do one more because I don't know when where I left off. All the money in the world couldn't convince me to sell my own flesh and blood son. Unfortunately, my son could not say the same, eagerly snatching the money from their hands as they dragged me away. Hello, I know this is awkward, but you're my biological mother through my parents in vitro fertilization. I stared in shock at a young woman who looked so strikingly like me, because I don't remember ever having been an egg donor. Okay, so when I first left off, and sorry I keep going back to this, in August, I'll do 5 more, because I think that's when I ended off, I think, last time. I'll do 5 more, then I'll end it here for today. Yeah, again, I do apologize for the interruption by hearing my dog barking in the background. Usually it doesn't bark a lot, so my bad. But yeah, let's keep going. They're harvesting organs. Help. My grandmother screamed into the phone before hanging up. After hanging up, Granny D told her caretakers, he's young, doesn't drink or smoke, he runs daily and is on his way. Huh, okay. Alright, so, the last 4. Humanity had one purpose. To the master's pleasure, the knowledge has been lost to time. The prophet had warned that her daughter would kill her. She assumed it would happen in childbirth, yet here she was, healthy, cradling a baby girl, with eyes full of innocence and wonder. Banger. Alright, the last two. Scientists finally figured out the Big Bang Theory to their horror. The universe wasn't expanding outwards, it was running away. What the fuck? Alright, the last one. See you tomorrow, my lovelies, she said as she signed off from her TikTok account. Fortunately for her killer, viewers have yet to notice that her hands sometimes have too many fingers. What? Okay, I'll do one more. That one was ass. I tucked my child into bed. As I turned to leave, they said, "Daddy, I think there's someone in the closet." When I opened the door to check, I only found an empty closet and a note pinned from the inside, written in my handwriting. She isn't real. Okay, and that's it for my bad 2 sentence horror stories. Yeah, again, I really do apologize for my dog barking in the background. I was not expecting her to bark during this video, and I'm already way too deep into the video to even go back and do another one take. And like, you probably would say, "Oh, why do I cut this part out?" I don't like, you guys. I don't really want to deal with like a 50-minute video upload just to delete like 5 to 10 seconds of interruptions. So I'm not doing that. But yeah, yet again, I apologize for my dog barking. It is what it is. But yeah, I don't have anything else to say. Hopefully y'all enjoy this creepypasta. Creepypasta. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this reading bad 2 sentence horror stories. Sorry, I'm used to reading creepypastas all the time, so that's what I always say. But yeah, I'll do another one in a few months. So yeah, expect one in like maybe February to March, because I wait till a lot of them get like built up. Then I can just go, instead of just like doing weekly where it's just like 10-minute videos, might as well have like at least just a long video every now and then. But yeah, I do want to say thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah, again, sorry for the interruptions. I didn't expect it to happen. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed, please leave a like. It is free. And if you guys want to see more, please consider subscribing. I do have a playlist of all the bad 2 sentence horror stories I have done recently. So if you want to check them out, please do. And yeah, but I do want to say thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye, everyone.